Hey guys, Nate here. RPG games and therapy might be what we're all about here at Deeges and Dragons, but I'm all about wrestling. Join us tomorrow on the Deegecast for a very special episode where Conrad, Tony, and I welcome two of my fellow wrestling analysts from pwtorch.com, Tom Staup and Zach Haydorn. We're going to be talking mental health and wrestling and get their take on our wrestling characters from this very episode. Check it out tomorrow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just search Deegecast in your favorite podcast app.
I'm not totally sure what's going on right now.
That's because that's my seat today.
Oh, my bad, dude.
That's more like it. I've always wondered what it'd be like to sit over here. So have you ever heard of Andre the Giant?
The French guy from The Princess Bride?
Anybody want a peanut? How about John Cena?
Yeah, he grew up in West Newbury. He just grew up right around the corner from us.
Yeah, like literally about 2 miles from here.
Yeah. Oh, you think he tried to date Paul's sister?
Yeah, I think he did try to date Paul's sister. Legit. How about The Rock?
Now I smell what you're cooking.
Today, we're going to be playing a game that's, well, in my wheelhouse, the Worldwide Wrestling RPG.
Welcome to Deeges and Dragons. I thought this was going to be hard.
Welcome to Deeges and Dragons.
It was a ripper.
Big champ, baby. Woo!
Smoke hero.
I'm a man of the people. Shadowed world.
Ripper always knows.
I'm a first-time game master, and you know what? I'm going to lord over a wrestling federation. At last, I am the game.
I think this should be fun.
It doesn't matter what you think! When starting, the Game Master takes on the role of creative. Creative is the person that plans out the matches and the story arcs and all of that. The other players, they're the wrestlers, like Conrad. So we're going to all actually work together to form the show. Players will create wrestlers at the beginning, and they'll have a gimmick. You can probably figure out the different type of role they play based on the names, like high flyer or technician.
So I jump through the air, or I'm skilled with mat moves?
Exactly. So you'll narrow down what you're all about after choosing a gimmick. There's a lot of freedom to come up with a personality that's fun to play out. You also get to choose your appearance, your entrance, your signature moves. There really aren't restrictions beyond the direction and the type of show that I want to make.
Makes sense. Since Doink the Clown was a wrestler and the Stink Face was a finisher move.
I must hold back the urge to give a lecture about wrestling and focus on the rules of this game.
You can do it.
To play this game, you're going to need the gimmick sheet and the move sheets that are available at ndpdesign.com/www.rpg. You'll also need some pencils and some six-sided dice. Now, it does help to have some people that know wrestling, might be a wrestling expert, might have a podcast about wrestling, but that's not necessary to play. The manual has some great essays, whether you're a wrestling fan with no role-playing experience, or you're a role player with no wrestling experience. These essays are going to be able to help you actually manage the game and play successfully. Either way, you'll have a better idea after you actually watch us in action.
Definitely. And it seems like there's a huge focus on the narrative. When do we actually roll dice?
So you're right, this is a very collaborative game where improvisation will benefit your experience. Now, even when I'm not narrating what's happening, other players will simulate like the announcers, the ringside announcers for matches, or they'll simulate the backstage interviewer, like me and Gene Okerlund, if you guys are familiar. What we all want to do is collaborate and make a great show. Guys, wrestling's not real. Wrestling is scripted. Just like Breaking Bad, just like any other show you've ever watched. It's scripted. That's what we're doing. We're scripting a wrestling show. We want to make a show that is enjoyable, it's entertaining, it's action-packed, it's fun to watch. The challenge between the players is, how do we make this the best show? The challenge for me is making it look like everything was already planned. Your roles will come into play when you attempt your moves.
Like my wrestling moves, like a fireman's carry.
Yes and no. Moves describe a larger premise in the meta of the show. Interfering with a match by running in is considered a move. Pumping up the audience and getting them on their feet, that's considered a move. There's a sheet that explains literal wrestling moves like a fireman's carry or a suplex. And when you perform something challenging like leaping off the top rope to elbow drop somebody, you'll also take a roll then. However, let's back up a little bit here. When you begin an episode of your wrestling season, your players will have established heat. Now, heat is what the audience thinks of the interactions between the wrestlers. You'll have some questions of character creation that help create storylines and generate those heat numbers. Your heat and winning matches will then influence your audience score. Every wrestler wants to improve their audience number because, well, that means they'll get booked again.
It's true. It's true.
And then, well, hey, then we're live. So normally, you start your show with last time on Worldwide Wrestling. However, for our show, I've scripted out the birth of a brand new wrestling federation, Underground Championship Wrestling. The creative will look at the roster and then book the matches, book the order of the matches, and their outcome, who's going to actually win the match. Basically everything that would take place on, say, WWE or AEW. Players will then act out their matches, as you'll see. You'll make rolls referencing relative stats to what you're doing, but ultimately you're always going to be rolling 2d6.
Last time on Nate WF, champion Navy Black takes a chair shot to the head from Tony. But he retaliates with a chokeslam through the mat.
How did you know? Right there, the heat would increase due to the epic rivalry between myself and Tony, and the audience would obviously want to see more of that, right? One other important thing to know is about momentum. Momentum is basically the energy and hype that builds as you perform. If you kept your coins from Clink, you could use those as the tokens for momentum. Today, we're going to be using poker chips to represent them instead. Players will spend momentum to increase the results of their rolls to ensure success or for special actions, depending on the gimmick.
Wow. Awesome. So I can make an absurd character. The sheets are easy guides to what I can do, and all I have to worry about is rolling when I want to affect the match with the move. You have to juggle everything into a planned show?
Yes, it is.
Let's do this.
And that's the bottom line, because a Deej said so. Oh, I'm recording over there. Welcome to Deeges and Dragons. I'm not Conrad. I usually sit over there. I'm sitting here this time. This is the first time I'm DMing a game, Worldwide Wrestling RPG. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I've never done this before. I've actually never even played this game before. So if I look to Ben down at the end there for some of these, some of the rules or whatever, Ben has played this game quite a bit. So has Tony. Conrad and I are completely new to this. So I kind of have the basic idea. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So I kind of think I should be able to run this, but as far as some of the rules go, I might end up looking at him. So this might be a little bit different than some prior episodes where, Conrad actually knows everything. That being said, welcome to Underground Championship Wrestling. This is a promotion, it's a relatively new promotion. They've never had there's never been a show, pay-per-view, nothing before. They've never done a non-televised event. This is the very first time UCW is actually a thing. So it's owned by a gentleman by the name of Nathaniel Dorian. Nathaniel Dorian wears a black baseball or black driver's cap, has black square glasses, relatively long beard, wears a sports coat with a black T-shirt, UCW logo underneath, and you can UCW logo on the shirt, and you can also tell that there's a collared shirt underneath the T-shirt because he's wearing his signature yellow bow tie. Nathaniel Dorian may not have pockets nearly as deep as Tony Khan from AEW or Vince McMahon from WWE, but he did not spare any expense on the set or pyrotechnics. The stage in the actual arena itself, this particular show, the UCW TV show, is going to take place in one arena. It's always going to be filmed in one studio, very similar to NXT for any of you wrestling fans out there. How NXT is filmed at Full Sail Arena down in Orlando. This will be filmed at an arena, small venue, about 1,500 people in Chicago. The stage itself is relatively tall, coming with about 15 feet to the ceiling or so. There's a large video screen above the stage that it will show any entrance videos. It'll show the action in the ring for anybody that may not be able to see what's going on. Although there really isn't a bad seat in the house. And yeah, so before we actually get into before we start and kind of get into the show proper, let's kind of go down the line and introduce the characters and what they're all about.
I will be playing Cameron Steele today. Cameron Steele is a 20-something 1%er who hails from Hampton, New Hampshire. He is a hardcore wrestler. In his previous shows, because he has an indie circuit that he wrestles up in New Hampshire in every August. His general wrestling style, he is 100% a heel, and he is, in the past, he has been known to have been under certain substances while wrestling, and honestly just aiming to hurt people. Now he just kind of short lines the process and just goes right to hurting people, and just kind of cuts the substances out of the process now.
Say no to drugs, say yes to blood.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm down with that. All right, and that's Cameron Steele.
That's Cameron Steele.
All right, I am Poindexter, Pointer Puny, Ragu. I hail from Bologna, Italy.
Which is a real place.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So my whole life dreamed of being a professional wrestler, but I was blessed with infantile-sized hands, so I'm just abysmal at grappling. But I work super hard. And I'm not like a small person. I'm 6'5", and I've got like a Fabio physique, but my hands are seriously just like baby hands. So to actually make it into this promo, it's just 100% work ethic, and even though I always lose, I still have this following where they'll buy like the foam fingers, but they'll be like half the size to represent my little hands. And it's not really like Nathaniel, like he spares no expense, but like my own entrance, it's 100% the work. And should I spoil my entrance?
No, wait for the match.
We'll wait for the match.
All right.
Let the drama build.
Yes, indeed. And you said what Cameron Steele looks like, right?
No.
He's probably like 5'10", kind of scrawny, not too much muscle. More muscle now than he did in the last couple of years he has been wrestling. Put on more weight after he stopped doing cocaine. But dark hair but bleached tips. kind of keeps it, too much product in the hair. Generally wears, when he's not wrestling, just pink polos, popped collars. Would generally wear sunglasses inside, generally to hide his eyes in various forms of inebriation.
Excellent.
When he's I guess when he's wrestling, we'll get to that later.
Okay, cool. All right. And so we got Cameron Steele, we have Poindexter, Puny, and...
First, allow me to say I'm honored to have your seat.
Yes.
It is large shoes to fill, but I think I can hopefully do this.
That's okay, because I got some pretty large shoes to fill over here.
I also want to throw a note that your description of the guy who runs the Fed, I can see it in my mind's eye. I can, yeah.
Yep.
So my name is Ben. I am playing Lazarus Spivey, named the Mindcreep. The Mindcreep is, I want you to picture Chris Angel and David Blaine with dad bod. We're talking, that teased black hair, looks like something out of a Motley Crue video, way too much guy liner, painted nails, ankh necklace, a goatee that looks like someone took a Sharpie and just kind of filled it in, and way too much intense, uncomfortable eye contact. Very creepy. His kind of motif is magic. He is not a particularly good wrestler. He is actually quite bad at it, but he's all about the look. He's all about the kayfabe magic, If the Undertaker can throw lightning at a ring post, I can make doves fly out of my sleeves. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But
wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. I am so excited for this in every conceivable way.
No, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So one of the first things that we want to do to kind of before we actually start getting into everything is basically called setting the heat. Heat is generally a term described how hot your feud is. How much the two wrestlers hate each other, how much the audience actually wants to see this match happen. So that's essentially what we kind of have to start here. On the character sheets, you guys should have some questions, heat questions. You basically will go around the table. When you pick a question, ask said question, and that should start. We'll basically start kind of setting the heat in that way. So Tony, we'll start with you.
Who's jealous of my devoted fan base? Which is just a single guy who always shows up to my show.
This is a rough one. This is a rough one.
A single sign that just says "hard as steel."
Do you want to eat the bullet or do you want me to do it?
So we're volunteering to be this person?
So this is the collaboration part where the characters
and we can pick and other NPCs too as well.
Yes, we can. I can introduce some of the NPCs here if we would like. There's a couple that I'm not going to introduce at the moment, but I can introduce some of the roster if we'd like before we set the heat, in case you guys do want to maybe start a feud with one of the NPCs.
So this particular question, I feel like, doesn't apply to either of us. I mean, I could be
wrong.
That
was just the first one on my list.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that the fact that there's one guy in the audience that doesn't believe in what I'm doing, is not willing to accept that magic is real. Yeah. I feel like I would be so focused on making that one person believe that I can fly, or I really did spend 30 days locked in a plexiglass case, not eating or sleeping, because David Blaine.
That's a little bit more on brand, which is who's returned from an injury I gave them.
I don't know. Maybe a couple of your NPCs, because that would help.
Cool. So let's do that. We'll go through a couple of the NPCs. Actually, one thing that we did not mention is
is alignment.
Oh,
so
right.
One big thing about wrestling, for anybody that's not a wrestling fan, one big thing is alignment. So you have your baby face, the good guy, and you get your heel, the bad guy. There's also other alignments like tweener, which somebody plays in the middle, but for sake of argument right now, we're going to stick with heel and face. Kind of going down the line, Cameron Steele, heel. Poindexter Puny, face. And the Mindcreep is...
I am a heel, but it is not through maliciousness. It is through the fact that he is such a pretentious douchebag. I can say douchebag, right?
Yes, this is a DJs After Dark episode.
Cool.
So,
pretentious douchebag. That he rubs everybody the wrong way.
Excellent.
Except for his very small fan base of avant-garde wrestling fans. Again, very, very small fan base. That just absolutely love his whole thing.
Excellent.
So,
equally pretentious, wears like the opera glasses.
yeah, if you want to see the guy in a Sandman T-shirt and a pince nez, that's his fan.
Okay.
It is.
like Sandman, ECW Sandman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with a weapon unless it's sawing myself in half or
Fair enough.
putting a spike through my nose and then staring longingly at the camera.
The human blockhead, I can actually do that.
I can, but I've got a couple other tricks I've been practicing specifically for this because I'm that guy who will be using magic during promos.
All right.
I just hope it works because if I screw this up on camera, I'm going to look completely awful.
Sawing in half, you just start screaming.
Oh God! All right, so with the heel and face explained there, so let me go through. I'm going to go through a couple of the faces here. The first one is going to be Horace Humbucker. Horace Humbucker is a face. He hails from Wichita, Kansas, and he has spent his life devoted to finding out exactly what the link between Kansas and the land of Oz actually is.
Oh my Lord.
This has led him to start looking at other ridiculous conspiracy theories, whether or not they may exist, or they're just in his mind is kind of up for debate. The sheer ridiculousness of what he comes up with keeps the crowd entertained and wanting more. Let's see, we also have, we'll go with Bob 9 to 5 Anderson. He's also face. He is actually pretty good friends with Poindexter Puny, a high-flying showman who names all of his moves after the days of the week. For example, Monday Feels, getting over Hump Day. His actual finisher is where he, which is his actual finisher, the Day of Rest, where he jumps against the rope and then spin kicks them in the side of the head, kind of like a Black Mass. If anybody's familiar with Aleister Black, spin kicks them in the side of the head, knocking them out. He's your everyman. He 9 to 5 goes to work, cubicle. Probably wearing a polo shirt, khakis, or something like that. He's like I say, he's your everyman, and the crowd relates to him because of his passion and the fact that he's an everyman and just his charisma. He's a very charismatic person. One of the other faces that we have is Booty Call. Booty Call is oddly reminiscent of 80s Eddie Murphy. Booty Call.
That's a callback,
right? Yeah. Booty Call dances to the ring with a smile on his face and charisma unmatched by most. Don't let his fun-loving persona fool you, though, because when the bell rings, his offense is just as smooth as his dance moves. Okay, cool. So I got a couple others, but we're going to hold off on those. We'll go with... So starting with some of the heels here, we have Tom the Terrible. Move over Alexander the Great. Tom the Terrible is here to conquer UCW. Adorned in leather armor, helmet, and a sword on his hip, Tom does not believe in any authority figure other than himself. He believes that the world is for him to conquer, and he will begin by dominating the wrestling world. There's more to his bio, but I'm going to leave it out for now. We also have the hardcore hobbyist. Sherman Thug. Before his time as a serial hobbyist, Sherman Thug spent his youth as a demolition derby mechanic, though his real passion was wrestling.
A demo mechanic's salary isn't all it's cracked up to be, and looking to make a buck, Thud began training to wrestle at the age of 42. After 7 months of training, he's still more familiar with a monkey wrench than a monkey flip. Chastised by the Demolition Derby community for selling out to earn a better living inside of the squared circle, Sherman's anger has gotten the better of him. No longer does he find pleasure in repairing mostly wrecked automobiles in his spare time. He's on a constant search for his next hobby, and that's hardcore hobbyist. And the last heel I will introduce here is his name is Funnel Activist. He's a heel. Funnel is a hippie who makes these terrible juice cleanse blends and tries to route the aggression in UCW by forcing other wrestlers to be healthy. He actually is one of the most hardcore wrestlers, though, and he'll strangle people with the funnel tubing he hides somewhere around the ring before making them drink pureed kale and orange juice. Everybody hates him, though, and they call him the hypocrite instead of hypocrite because he's just so aggressive. So we get a couple. There's a few characters there to at least kind of start building some of these heat questions off of. And
All
go from
right.
there.
So I am definitely going to gain a heat with the everyman. What was his name again?
Bob 9 to 5 Anderson.
Bob 925. So he is recently returning from an injury I gave him because I feel it's topical that the 1%er is constantly bringing down the everyday man.
All right.
Cool. Returning from an injury from Conrad.
Okay. I do think it makes sense where we're friends for 9 to who was my tag team partner before they made it big. Where like 9 to 5 has larger aspirations, and I just keep losing, so I don't want to hold him down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, 9 to 5.
Yeah, so we'll just go in order. That'll work. I love that. I love that so much. I need to see you two as a team.
For old time's sake.
For old time's sake.
Yeah.
For old time's sake. Who thinks I'm all smoke and no fire?
Hell yeah.
I'm not even going to dignify that with anything else. I'll do the look.
So one thing I do want to just explain to the audience here is whoever answers the question, so Ben just asked a question, Tony answered the question. Ben now gets +1 heat with Tony's character. So, you know, that kind of helps to build the feud and whatnot. And we'll get into that as we go. And I'm sure we just talked about it in the last segment of the intro, which we haven't filmed yet. We will be. But,
cool.
So yeah. Right, so yeah, +1 heat. Conrad has +1 heat with 9 to 5. All right.
All right, so who can take everything I can dish out?
You know, you might not be a bad option for
I was
this
thinking that,
it
yeah.
sounds like getting beat up is kind of your bread and butter.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So Tony.
What was your guys' name again?
Pointer Puny. Okay. Who thinks they're too important to work with me?
Yo!
So all right, Poindexter.
Lazarus.
Yep. Mindcreep, thank you. Use my title.
Mr. Mindcreep.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Mindcreep.
And the cool thing about this is this also means that when you answer, when someone agrees to one of these, you both get the +1 heat. It's not just, you know, you having heat with me, it's me having heat with you. Mm-hmm. And also, face and heel automatically have +1 heat against each other.
Yes.
You're a face, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's +2.
Yeah, it'll go to +2.
Okay.
Who is my fan, even though we're peers?
Ooh. I'm going to say
Who was the first heel? Can't remember who it was.
Tom the Terrible.
Tom the Terrible.
Yeah. I think he was the first one I mentioned.
Yeah.
Mindcreep could be his Grand Vizier.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Sure. Why not? I think that might be fun. Yeah.
Okay, so mind.
Grand Vizier.
We'll work together to take over this ring.
I never thought when I was coming up with this character I would be someone's personal seer before.
Right? It's all working out.
Yeah.
working
I'm
out.
gonna just add soothsayer to the top part of this character sheet.
So, who beat me bloody most recently?
Oh man.
I think it'd be funny if it was Booty Call.
I'm down for that.
I'm totally down with that.
Because like now I can picture is like Rich Swann taking an Abdullah the Butcher spike to somebody, and it is the greatest thing I've ever pictured in my head in the last 2 minutes.
I'm not gonna lie. The inspiration for Booty Call was kind of a mix between Rich Swann, Shane Strickland, and like Adam Rose.
Okay, I like it. I dig it.
As you can see, Ben and I are wrestling fans.
I'm trying so hard not to be that guy.
I know.
Over the course of this, like
I know.
I don't want to launch into a 20-minute, history lesson on. I'm just.
I have the same.
We're
problem.
good. We're good.
All right. What's another one of your questions there, Poindexter?
Who can't remember who I am?
Most of the roster.
Does that eat with
I don't know. Those tiny hands sound pretty distinctive.
So let's
Going for a scoop slam and whoops. Oh man.
Instead, it just ends up being a lawsuit.
So
who was the second face?
let's see. Second face I think I mentioned was Bob 9 to 5 Anderson.
Oh, wait, who was first?
Horace Humbucker. He's the one that is the conspiracy theorist from Kansas who's trying to figure out the link between Kansas and the Land of Oz.
He sounds pretty preoccupied. I don't think Horace Humbucker.
Okay. Who is trying to steal my approach?
Ooh.
Now, one note with that is you can answer more than one question for someone, although it caps at 2 typically. You've got kind of an opera gimmick, right?
I'll also be doing a little opera.
So I feel like I might think that your overly dramatic persona and theatrics are kind of encroaching on my thing. So if you think that works, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that would set us to 3, not 4, because you only get the heal thing once.
Okay.
So, who's jealous of my devoted fan? Face.
Would it be somebody who's a face where like why is this one person like so sickly devoted to this guy?
You guys don't know who he is, but write down Bucky Buchanan.
Who is always trying to get management on my side?
Ooh.
That could, so you can use the same one. That could also be 9 to 5.
I was gonna say it's got to be 9 to 5 because
Say,
they're
like-
like, hey, give him a chance. Come on.
Yeah.
Give him, no, don't get rid of him yet. Don't get rid of him yet.
I'm sure his hands will grow in any day now.
We're working on finger extensions for him.
He just got this oil he ordered online. It's supposed to grow them like 2 sizes over the course of a few weeks.
Did you just plug hand enlargement cream?
He did.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I know I've seen something like that in my email numerous times.
That's not for the hands.
Oh,
Unfortunately, Blue Chew is not sponsoring this.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
I know.
Okay. Who helped me get to where I am?
Ooh.
So this could be a fun one.
Let's see. Who helped you get to where you are?
So is it like they genuinely helped you, or you destroyed somebody else that?
Well, it could be someone that either brought me to the Federation or sent a video in to Dorian and Nathaniel, saying, hey, check this guy out. Or maybe someone was scrolling through Twitter and it was retweeted and someone saw it. So it's basically who's responsible for this.
You're also going to write down Bucky Buchanan.
Okay. And is he a face or a heel?
He's a heel.
Okay.
He's a heel.
Gotcha.
All right. We got to be coming up to the end,
Yeah.
right?
I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So I think, Ben, you have one more?
No, that was it.
All right.
All
So
4 of mine.
cool. So we've got the heat set. In this point in time, like I said, in most games, in most stories, the promotion has had a show before, but this is, like I said, this is the first time UCW is a thing. So typically, you'll end up going around the table and talking about what happened on the last episode. And you basically just kind of give a quick highlight of what happened. Maybe you and Cameron had an interaction with Bob 9 to 5, or maybe Lazarus had an interaction with somebody, or what have you. However, where we have not had a show before, I figure you guys could either go and describe maybe a backstage interaction that you had with somebody, maybe a rivalry in a different promotion, an indie promotion, perhaps the mysterious Japan, or a place like that. So be creative with it. However you want to do it, I'll probably be able to make work. But you just can't be like, hey, this happened on the last episode, because we didn't have one.
Where it's the first episode of the show, would it also make sense, because there's probably a number of people that have never seen these wrestlers before, would it also work if we did like an intro promo to the wrestler?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
If you want to do that, if you want to just do a quick introduction promo instead of a highlight that happened in a different promotion or backstage or whatever, and you just want to do a quick promo to introduce yourself, feel free. So, do we?
I'm being looked
Go
at.
ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Here is the mind creep.
All right. So, okay. So first off, they go to cut to the promo, and all it is like a flickering candle, and then the slow kind of electronic piano chorus kind of kicks in, and then you hear the voiceover. So many people walk through this world sleeping. They have their dreams, but they don't see the world around them. The Mindcreep is the one who carries them from those dreams of sleep to their broken, boring reality. They say that the human mind only uses 10% of its brain. And with this, it focuses in, and you can see kind of this washed out, heavy eyeliner, obviously, Salon Vidal Sassoon Aquanet wig, and what looks like a not sizable, but present double chin under a really bad goatee, kind of silhouetted in a candle flame. They only use about 10% of their brain. The Mindcreep, the walker between worlds, the patron of dreams, and the one who's going to tear the veil of reality apart. I'm going to make you go higher than 10%, whether you like it. And the puff of breath and the candle goes out, and all you hear is, or not.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We're definitely rivals.
That was actually so good, I forgot to take notes.
It's cool.
That's cool. All right. So, either Poindexter or Cameron.
So I definitely historically have done everything I can to become a professional wrestler. It has been my lifelong dream. And so the break of my reality, my dream, it's too real. But so from like a very young age, you know, just like wearing the shirts of, you know, champions and like other events and whatnot, and
Back when his hands were appropriately sized.
right, yeah.
It's like a flashback of him as a kid with little hands and like wrestling t-shirts, you know, and like a fadeaway.
Yeah. And I go on to like high school wrestling, where I just like keep getting like destroyed. I like do everything to like change my weight and stuff to like fit into like different classes, but like nothing I do works. And ultimately, and I'm like, I gotta. But both my parents are opera singers, so you know they keep telling me, you know, you can always just do that. I'm like, no, I will be a wrestler no matter what. So like I have, you know, some theatrics from both of them, and so I guess with like 9 to 5, like he also would be, you know, like kind of the same. Like we both worked hard to get to where we want to be, but he actually is like a successful high flyer. And so in some like other promotion or something, we're both there, and I just clearly dragged him down, but like we still keep that friendship. So he's like, all right, like, I'll get you into the, you know, with a meeting with Nathaniel Dorian, and you can show him that like you know how to sell. And that's really ultimately why I ended up being hired. It's just every move against me is just over the top. Like the first time like The Rock got like the Stone Cold Stunner, and he just like does like this, you know, super like backflip, like spins like 3 times and like lands.
The fish pop.
Yeah, it's just like, ooh, like that's how I sell like everything. You know, like I'll take like a punch and just be like, ooh. Does that answer the question ultimately?
Like, yeah, because like, you know.
Oh yeah, it was last time. Yeah, so my history.
So it's kind of a bit of history. That, you know, we'll call that a video package. Like, so you know, there was maybe like a 60-second video package that kind of just where you were talking about your upbringing, and you know your parents are opera singers, and you know, maybe there were in that video package there were pictures of you in high school. You know,
getting pinned.
with the voiceover.
Yeah.
Of like these different scenes of his past and his life.
Exactly. Somebody like half your size.
Yes, getting pinned by somebody half his size. Awesome. All right. That's perfect. That's perfect.
So Cameron Steele's first promo starts honestly similar to an episode of where it starts off by just it's a black screen, and you just hear the radio chatter over the police cruiser. It's just like reports of maniac with a deadly weapon in the Hampton Ballroom Casino. Over. And then it shows clips of an arena in a packed stadium, cameras everywhere. And there is this guy hanging upside down from one of the turnbuckles. For any made-up indie wrestlers fans, they would know that was Danny Danger, a recently forcibly retired indie wrestler that was pretty high tier as far as popularity goes in the indie scene. And behind him is just Cameron Steele, soaked in not his own blood, with a coked out face, just going to town on his back with a nailed bat.
That's awesome.
And then it just cuts to him just being handcuffed and taken out of the arena, as he's just yelling. You can't hear because it's just drowned out by the music playing. For licensed music we can't get titles to right now. And
he just they just drag him out of the arena.
Yeah, they just drag him out of the arena, and he's just like thrashing because he's coked out on who knows what.
Excellent.
Cut to the courtroom.
Yeah, cut to the courtroom, and Cameron is just sitting in the defense booth, just smiling. The judge mentions bail, and Cameron just kind of laughs, reaches into his pocket, takes out a checkbook, writes a check, walks up to the judge's podium, puts the check on the podium, and walks out.
So
That's great.
yeah. So
love it.
I mean, that'll come into play like out on bail.
Yeah, no, and both Cameron's therapist and parole officer suggests that, you know, wrestling isn't the most the best outlet for his anger issues, but at the same point he's paying them, so they just really tell him whatever he wants to hear at this point.
Excellent.
Also seems to be writing checks to them.
Obviously.
Oh God. All right, perfect. So that kind of sets a little bit of the tone of the beginnings of the first UCW show. All right, so and now we're live. So at this particular point in time, typically the person playing creative, which is typically called the game master, but for this game it's called creative. In the real wrestling world, creative is the one that wrestling's not real, guys.
What?
I know. It's
Scripted.
scripted. It's not fake. I will not say it's
scripted.
fake.
What?
It is scripted. So is Breaking Bad. So is any other TV show you've ever watched. It's scripted. And Walter White wasn't really like dealing meth.
So that
I'm out.
Everything is a lie.
Creative is actually, there's usually a team of people. Sometimes there's one person, but creative is the one that actually puts the show together and decides who's going to win the matches and all this stuff. That's me. So at this particular point in time, creative will typically take like a 10-minute break and kind of go through basically a show sheet here, episode sheet to see, and kind of set out all of the matches and all of that. Basically set up the first episode of your wrestling show. I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. However, if we do end up going to another episode, I will have to take a 10-minute break just to kind of write everything up. So that being said, now we're live. It is time for the show. So like I said, we take place in Chicago. Kind of already described the arena a little bit here, but the crowd is going nuts. There's been a lot of hype for UCW over the past maybe like 5-6 months. A lot of hype online, a lot of YouTube vignettes from all the different characters. But there's like a rabid fan base for UCW right now. So like I said, about a 1,500 person seat arena, and it's. The clock just ticks over to 7 o'clock. So you hear very classy music fill the arena. The lights go down a little bit, and you see the words on the big video screen. You see the words Nathaniel Dorian come up, and you hear the ring announcer say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Nathaniel Dorian." Dorian comes out of the backstage area and makes his way down to the ramp, into the ring. When inside the ring is a small little table right in the smack dab in the center of the ring, and it's got a black cloth draped over it. It looks like there's probably something underneath that cloth. And like I said, Nathaniel Dorian steps in the ring and he says, "Chi-Town!" The crowd goes wild because, cheap pop. Cheap pop for talking about town you're in. And as the crowd dies down a little bit, Nathaniel Dorian continues and says, "Welcome to Underground Championship Wrestling." Crowd goes even crazier. He waits for him to calm down a little bit. UCW. Crowd calms down. He goes, "All right, thank you. Enough chit chat now. Let's get down to business. As much as I would love nothing more than to oversee the day-to-day operations of this company, with all of my other endeavors right now, that would be nearly impossible. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the inaugural UCW president, the Southern Dream, Dirty Streets."
I also just realized where you were getting Dirty Streets from.
Thank you.
And I both love it and hate it.
Don't you though? Dusty roads,
Yep.
dirty streets. So yeah, you hear music with this country twang kind of fill the arena. Crowd goes absolutely crazy, and Dirty Streets, the wrestling legend, and emerges from the backstage. Street stands about 5'11". He's always been a rather rotund fellow. His physique did not detract from his career at all, as he captured world championships around the globe in his heyday. He makes his way down to the ring. He and Dorian shake hands. Dorian waves to the crowd and retreats backstage. The crowd goes absolutely nuts. Streets, 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 streets. Dirty Streets gets to the ring, kind of bows to everybody, waving, thank you, thank you, thank you. Puts the mic up to his face and says, through the decades, wrestling fans have watched as this business has evolved. Pro wrestling roots can be traced back as far as our former president, Abraham Lincoln, and has become an American pastime, especially with stars like Stone Cold and The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Bruno Sammartino, Sting, Jushin Liger. The list goes on and on and on. Today, we crown wrestling's new world champion. Crowd cheers wildly. Streets then takes the black cloth, lifts it off the table, and reveals an empty black leather strap. It looks like a title belt, but there are no plates on it whatsoever. There's no big gold center plate. There's also typically on a belt, there's some side plates on the strap. You'll see a picture of it, I'm sure. I will put one up here. The side plates, nothing's there. But however, there looks like there's places for said plates. There's two sockets. I'm going to call them sockets. I don't know what else to call them. There's two sockets on either side, either part of the strap. So there's basically looks like there's 4 sockets that you could put in these like gold side plates on. There's also a socket in the center of this belt where it looks like you can attach the center plate. The crowd kind of gives this like, huh? You kind of hear confusion going through the arena. Yes, this is the UCW World title. Kind of. Streets reaches into the inside pocket of his sports coat and he pulls out 4 rectangular gold plates that look like they could fit into those empty sockets I was just talking about. He goes, we will have 4 matches tonight. The winner of each of these matches will receive one of these 4 plates. Holds up the plates, and he kind of like shows that they clip onto the leather belt. The winner of each match will then move on to our main event, a 4-way ladder match. Streets points up to the ceiling high overhead, and there you notice that there is the center plate for the belt just hanging from the ceiling. Whoever fits the center plate to the belt first will be the winner. It does not matter who climbs the ladder and retrieves the plate first. The winner will be whoever fits it to the belt first. The crowd cheers wildly, and everybody seems to really likes this idea. In order to enter the match, you must turn in your gold side plate. So essentially, you have to use it as like currency to enter the match. If you do not have it on your person, come the time you walk down the ramp, you cannot enter the match. So the crowd again kind of cheers wildly, and Dirty Streets then says, without further ado, let's get to wrestling. And he sets the mic down on the table, panders to the crowd, kind of bows to them, and makes his way backstage.
Next time on Deeges and Dragons.
So, how did you prepare for tonight's match?
I didn't. I just kind of showed up, and I'm here, and I'm going to beat the shit out of some guy. I don't even know who I'm fighting. What are you doing to prepare for this match?